right, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And salutation and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. Right, that believe wholeheartedly in this true doctrine that's being pushed, and who are in hope of mercy and salvation in these last days. All right. This is in transit based upon this video from naturalnews.com with Mike Adams. Okay. And in this little 13-minute clip, all right, he's basically explaining 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16. He's explaining prophecy getting ready to play out, but he's explaining it from the standpoint of a major, which he's gonna intro this billionaire that's basically saying, because I mean, when you hear the video, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. But everything he's saying, as far as prophecy of what's to come due to the financial collapse, not only is it going to be a financial collapse, there's going to be food shortages and power shortages. All right? And this is what this billionaire, this mainstream billionaire is saying it's inevitable to happen. And that the people that's in the major cities, a lot of them won't survive. All right? Because the cities are the ones that's going to suffer the most, especially the big cities. And he's going to name some of them cities, man. All right? We're getting ready to, enter into the straight gate for real. Okay? And when you listen to these points that he makes in this this podcast, okay, you're gonna know exactly. Or 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16 should come to your mind immediately, because that's all I was thinking about listening to it. You know, the scriptures dealing with the end time prophecies, society erupting, total anarchy and chaos, famine, all right, and darkness with no power. Okay, so everything is still on the table. Everything is still out there. All right, for something to give. Something's getting ready to give, man. It's too much going on right now for the Lord not to make something happen. You know, the Lord is just piling the bricks on up high until they all come falling down. And that's what we're getting ready to witness. We're getting ready to witness these bricks fall in the violent crash that it's going to cause on society. All right. Now this dude Mike Adams, he's pretty credible with his sources and the people he has inside with, as well as just people he follows that knows, that the collapse of America is imminent. It's going to happen. All right. Now I'm gonna play this. More than likely we're not gonna get through it all, but I want to get through these first few points, and of course we're gonna read 2nd Ezra 15. And if the Spirit gives utterance on any other scriptures, we're going to pull those too. All right? Because prophecy, baby. Prophecy is what's coming to pass. All right? The more prophecies come to pass, the more these things come to pass, the faster we're going to get up out of here, man. Through the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? So I'm going to play this. And we'll do some stopping and going and some scripture pulling. So let's go.
Okay, welcome. Mike Adams here. We have a critical financial update that begins with Mr. Paul Singer, who is the billionaire founder or leader of the Elliott Management hedge fund. And he has come out publicly and stated that because of the financial situation that is unfolding, we now face, I believe he said, quote, worldwide societal collapse. And, you don't hear that language very frequently from sort of conventional finance people. If maybe you never hear that from them. You do hear that kind of language from independent media, alternative media, whatever, people who don't necessarily have to answer to financial regulators, or people who don't get a paycheck from MSNBC or whoever. People who are free to speak openly talk about the financial collapse that's coming. But those who run multi-billion-dollar hedge funds almost never say this. Well, he said it. And he's saying it.
There you go. He runs a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund, meaning he's a part of the system. All right? He's a part of the system, and those that are a part of the system normally don't speak out against what's to come. All right? And that's the scripture in Psalm 68. Let's get that real quick. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry, not Psalm 68, Psalm 64. All right, verse 8. These Edomites are starting to, just speak about it. Basically telling the world it's over. All right? They getting ready to transition this society into their digital world. And it's inevitable. It's going to happen. All right? This is Psalms 64. And verse, let me see if I can start up above it a little bit. I'll just go straight to the point. Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All right? And this is them. A multi-billionaire, a part of the system is coming out basically saying there's getting ready to be a global societal collapse. All right? A global societal collapse. And this is why all these countries have been transitioning to get their CBDC in order. All right? Because something's coming. Back in September, the dope was saying we need to have all Vatican assets in Vatican banks by the end of, I believe it was the end of September, if I'm not mistaken. If not September, it was October. Okay? So there something is on the table to where money is going to be obsolete. And you're going to hear Mike Adams say something to the effect of, imagine these cities 3 days without the food stamps working. All right? So these Edomites are going to tell it, man. Because they're the ones up there, they see it coming. They see it coming. The average person, let alone the average Jake, they don't see what's getting ready to happen out here. All right? We're talking about a society crippling type event where society will never go back to the same that it was. All right? It's going to cripple this society. Okay? And in turn, it's going to breed anarchy, chaos, and destruction. Due to the people needing necessities. They can't purchase it with the power of the dollar. What they going to do? They're going to do the next best thing. They're going to take it. All right?
He's got a lot of reasons behind it. This has been reported publicly, by CNBC and MarketWatch.com and so on. So he sees what's coming. Rising interest rates are colliding with multiple factors, including massive money printing and a collapse of supply chains, combined with energy scarcity and the deindustrialization of much of the Western world. These factors are all coming together, and what they're pointing to is
Salakia, the deindustrialization of the Western world is what they call going green, lowering their emissions. All right? This is what's causing all this chaos, because they're trying to make everything electronic and digital so that they can have total control. All right? They trying to get rid of the fossil fuels. This is what they mean when he says deindustrialize. All right? This is why you're starting to see now they're starting to bring to the forefront, and even certain cities, you have self-driving vehicles and even self-driving freight trucks, tractor and trailer, electronic, self-driving. All right? Now, it has to have a person inside the truck, with it right now, because it's, as they say, in the beginning stages, but I believe they already have it perfected. They just bringing it in there, all right, to ease it on to the people, okay? So this is what's all this happening. It's the deindustrializing of the Western world, which is Europe and the West, all the way over here to America, Babylon the Great. All right, because America came out of Britain, and they collapsing the system that they put in place hundreds of years ago to bring in the new beast system, to where you're going to be locked in through Internet of Bodies. All right, which that chip, the CHIP being the MOTB, that's going to lock you all the way in. Okay? This is what's happening. And it's right around the corner.
Worldwide societal collapse. Now, what does he mean by that? What is actually coming? Well, let me bring in something else that's relevant to this. I just recently interviewed Bob Moriarty, and he's the founder of 321gold.com. He's a U.S. Marine Corps fighter pilot, veteran. He flew over 800 missions for the Marine Corps. I mean, yeah, this guy's a legend. And he's also an author and analyst and financial guy who knows what he's talking about. And he flew a lot of those missions during Vietnam, by the way. So, he's up there in the years, but he's got amazing life experience and wisdom because of those years. In fact, during our interview, he mentioned Paul Singer as well, and the Elliott Management Company and that statement. But after the interview, and that interview is going to come out maybe around the same time as this podcast, so you can check for it on my channel on brighteon.com. But after the interview, he was asking me where I live, and I told him, I'm in the outback of rural Texas, far from any city. And he lives in a rural farming community in southern France, kind of where they get ocean weather, ocean breezes, so their weather is more moderate there. And he doesn't have to worry about, being in a big city, and nor do I. But we had a conversation off the air, and he reiterated to me that he thought that the people who live in these big high-density cities, many of them are not going to survive what's coming. And he named a bunch of cities. He named Houston and Chicago and Los Angeles and so on. Denver even, quite a few cities. But the reason I even bring that up, not only do I agree with him, but the nature of the collapse that's coming. When Paul Singer talks about worldwide societal collapse, you got to understand that this is a convergence of many different collapsing factors, which includes food, energy, money, politics, freedoms, and so on. And then there are also wild cards that can be thrown into this mix, and black swan type of events like, cyber attacks on the grid supply, the power grid, cyber attacks on the banking system, nuclear war or nuclear terrorism, things like that, EMP weapons, all kinds of things. But even without those black swans, what is already certain to occur, and Mr. Moriarty and I completely agree on this, what is already certain to occur is a global collapse of currencies, that is Western currencies, food supply, energy supply, industrialization, and effectively then jobs. And so when those systems go down, people rise up. Some people riot. And I mean, I'm not calling for that, obviously, because everybody that listens to me is already prepared. They're not going to be panicked or freaked out or rioting. It's the unprepared who are going to riot. But make no mistake, they will riot. There will be uprisings. There will be revolutions across the world, and especially across Europe. You are about to see the most bizarre chapter in human history. You're about to see the fall and then the new refounding of many elements of Western civilization, because the currencies are.
I mean, all he's saying is 2 Ezra 15, so I'm gonna go there. Okay, read a little bit, then we'll go back. You know what I'm saying, and pick up. But I'm gonna start at the top. It's 2 Ezra 15 and 1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy." And what you're hearing Mike Adams speak of is prophecy. He don't know it. You know, he don't know it. Or if he does, he doesn't go into the scriptures to link the two. But that's not his job anyway. That's the job of the prophets. Okay? What he's speaking about, that these billionaire finance experts, Peter Singer, I believe was his first name, and then Bob something was the second guy, the guy that they had the conversation of him asking him where he lived. See, these dudes, which Mike Adams, he's Irish, I don't know, he looks like an Edomite, he appears to be an Edomite, all right? They way well equipped, ready to go off grid. They already in the rural parts of these big states on land with cattle, this, that, and the third. Jake, you don't have that. You don't have that luxury on this side, man. So this punishment, when it comes, it's gonna hit Jake the hardest. It's your punishment anyway. All right? And this is prophecy. This is the main thing when we out there on the highways and we doing these shit, the main thing we talk about is prophecy. The writing is on the wall. Okay? It says, "Which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." And it says, "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." And that's what's written in this Bible. Okay? The words of this book are faithful and true. And you have basically everybody who's in alternative media, you know, that's doing their own thing, bringing real news to light. They're speaking the words of prophecy without even knowing, like Mike Adams. All right? But the Lord put that spirit in our mouth to marry it with his word. Okay? I'm going to jump down to matter of fact, I'm going to read through. It's verse 3. It says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." And that's the majority of our people. You know, our people that speak against us, it don't bother us. That's why you'll never see us go and debate Kemet or debate another Israelite group that don't agree on the same topic. We ain't finna debate nothing. Okay? We ain't worried about it, because this time that's coming is getting ready to reveal who Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua has been dealing with this whole time. That's what's getting ready to reveal it, and that's written. Okay? "For it shall be revealed by fire." Everybody's getting ready to be tried. Okay? Verse 4, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." Israelites. All right? You're going to die in your unfaithfulness what's to come, because you ain't ready for it, man. Like Mike Adams have said, you're the unprepared. Jake don't listen to dudes like this, let alone the prophets. So when it come, it's gonna hit Jake the hardest, because Jake gonna be like in that movie, Blackout America, like them Edomites was, barbecuing, thinking it was gonna pass. That third day, that's when them instincts start kicking in on the people. The stomachs start growling, and people start going into survival mode. And it only lasted 10 days. This is gonna last more than 10 days. Or if it lasts 10 days and that's it, it's gonna feel like a whole month. But I believe this is gonna last more than just 2 weeks when it goes down here in the States, man. Okay? This is the last time. So the Lord is gonna really show out. He gonna show his anger, all right, as well as his mercy onto his elect, because miracles are gonna be happening. That's how bad it's gonna be. Like when you go to the book of Daniel 12th chapter. Why you think Michael gonna have to stand up? Because Esau finna bring it all. He got a whole goddamn fleet of robots that he can mount with rifles. And you got motherfuckers, you know, thinking they finna shoot it out with the devil, man. The devil ain't finna shoot it out with you. He is sending robots to your shit with precise aim. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing with precise aim. And your only hope is Yahweh Shemi Awashai, man. You know? Verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, and that's what's coming, famine, death, and destruction. And that's what you heard Mike Adams say. There's going to be food shortages. All right? There's going to be riots. That's going to involve the sword, your modern day sword, which is the gun. There's going to be power outages where you only going to have the light of the day, and when it's at night, when the moon is visible. All right? It's the only light we gonna have, or that's going to be out here. Okay? All that's coming. We just read it in verse 5, verse 6. And this is why it's coming. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. This is why the Lord is bringing this. Because wickedness has polluted this place. Because the wicked are in power, and their time is up. Like Ye say, it's up. Yahweh Shemi Awashai is getting ready to cash in on you devil's ass, and 2/3 of the nation of Israel's ass, and all you heathens. You getting ready to be cast in on. You didn't had your time, man. All right? It says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. All right? Just like during the time of Canaan, when the Most High said their iniquity hasn't come to full yet. When did it come to full? When the Most High told us to go up in there and do what we did, which was slaughter them and take over the land. That's when their iniquity was at full. So America's just about there. Babylon the Great is just about there with their iniquity come to its full. All right? And it's time for the judgment. Okay? So it says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. And he's talking to his people, the Israelites. The Lord is going to start touching Jake to the point to where you're going to know that the Lord is the one killing everybody, because it's going to be happening that much. See, right now you'll get a little rapper, you know what I'm saying? A rapper get taken out, a singer or actor or something. See, the Lord gonna start killing you Jakes by the droves, to where you ain't gonna have nothing nothing else to think but Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is angry. He's the one bringing this death. And furthermore, the prophets are going to be out there speaking, proclaiming it. All right? It says, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually, which is the elect. It says in, I'm going to jump down to, to 12, but let's go back to this video a little bit. We're going to pick back up on verse 12. Let's go back to the video, play a little more.
Going to fall, the banks are going to fall. You're going to have bank failures, bail-ins, bank holidays, freezes, whatever you want to call it. And then governments will fall. And during...
When the American people cannot get their money out of that bank, that's when it's going to get real. All right? That's when it's going to get real out here. All right? It is going to get real when the American people cannot get their money out these banks. All right? These banks, when they start shutting them doors and people are outside trying to get in, and this is the reason, I believe this is the main reason they put them thick-ass bulletproof doors on all the banks. Because I remember going back to the 90s and the early 2000s, banks wasn't like they are now, where one person go in at a time. You know, in certain banks, only one person can go in the little middle part. Both doors got to close, then the other one go in. You know, then that person in the middle goes into the bank, and then the person waiting, he can't go in until the door on the other side closes. Then, you know what I'm saying? So when people can't get their money, they're going to lose it. They are going to lose it. And this is what Esau wants. Esau finna bring that pressure. All right?
Recorded a new 9-hour audiobook. It's called The Global Reset Survival Guide. And he was describing chaos theory. We have these kinds of conversations. Make no mistake, they will riot. There will be uprisings. There will be revolutions across the world, and especially across Europe. You are about to...
I took it back just a little bit because I had lost the place. But we'll pick it back up. Let's go. Salakia.
The most bizarre chapter in human history. You're about to see the fall and then the new refounding of many elements of Western civilization. Because the currencies are going to fall, the banks are going to fall, you're going to have bank failures, bail-ins, bank holidays, freezes, whatever you want to call it, and then governments will fall. And during this process, it's going to be incredibly chaotic before it finds a new level of stabilization or structure. In other words, before there is new order out of the chaos. So, in fact, I was on the phone just the other day with Dave.
Order of chaos, all right? That's what the elite want. They want to bring the chaos and emerge with the order, all right? The chaos is going to be far greater than what they even think, though, because the Heavenly Father is going to push the energy behind it to bring it, all right? And the chaos is going to go on all the way up until the missiles drop, all right?
Wilcock. And he was describing chaos theory. We have these kinds of conversations from time to time. If only you could hear my private conversations with interesting people, let me tell you. It's mind-blowing. But David Wilcock was describing chaos theory, and he talked about how they've used computers to simulate the falling of grains of sand. And when grains of sand form a pile, And then at some point, as more grains are added to this pile from the top, as in something like an hourglass, let's say, at some point that pile suffers another collapse where everything just shifts down until it settles again. And during that collapse of the sand pile, it turns out that the computers cannot predict where things are going to go, even though they're trying to simulate every single sand grain. Because the overall effects or the emergent properties of complex systems are not able to be fully modeled even by today's best mathematicians and computer scientists and supercomputers and so on. Still can't model it. So there's two things to understand from this. Number one is that when the collapse happens, even though there will be restructure after the collapse, during the collapse, everybody's in free fall, just like the grains of sand. Everybody's in free fall, including you and me, because the food's not available, the money supply has cratered, the governments are in turmoil, there's chaos, there's war, there's maybe a lack of a power grid, whatever it is, everybody's free falling, everybody's in chaos, all the grains of sand are trying to hold on for dear life. At some point then there's a resettling, there's a grounding and a restructuring of a new system, which is where everybody ends up falling and settling. Whatever that looks like is unknown. So that's the second point. No one can accurately predict what
it's going to look like. The movie The Road. It's going to look like Book of Eli. Society will never go back to norm once this thing goes down. All right? And if you consent on the Esau, all right, you're going to be had in derision and trodden underfoot. All right? In his internment camps. Because consenting onto him is ultimately taking his CHIP. And you can find that in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. They that consent unto them shall be had in derision and trodden underfoot. All right? That's the settling once all hell breaks loose and it just goes from 0 to 100. The settling is going to be the Book of Eli, the road out here, all right, which is a violent society where violence is just in the earth, where you can get killed over a 16-ounce water, 16-ounce bottle of water, you'll be killed. Okay, and it's gonna be that bad until Yahushua returns. All right.
The future is going to hold for humanity. Will we even have a United States of America? Maybe not. I kind of suspect not, by the way. But, will we have Western Europe as it currently exists? Will we have NATO? Will we have the dollar? Will we have the euro currency? I mean, all of these questions are, extremely important to understand.
Because it ain't going to be none of that for a while. All right? It ain't going to be a way to purchase. Only you going to go get, if you go get that CHIP, you're going to be in the custody of the government until they clean up the those that are rebelling and don't want to get the like I said, the Book of Eli, the road, all right, Bushwick, that's going to be society, man. Ain't nobody going to be worried about the bag in that day. All right? In none of the West. That's why he started out and he said that the deindustrialization of the West. All right? Let's play a little more.
And I think the answers to a lot of these are that these things will not exist for much longer. But one of the things we all need to consider is the nature of the culture in each area as the collapse takes place. Because we know this collapse is going to involve food scarcity, starvation, energy collapse, financial collapse, political collapse, all these things. But also civility will be in question. And understanding civility or the implications of a collapse requires you to dig into the culture of each country a little bit more. For example, in Japan, in a collapse, there won't be mass chaos in Tokyo, for example, because, well, the Japanese are rather orderly. And there's not a media in Japan that has been pushing a race war in Japan, and besides, they all look Japanese. So it's not easy.
Second Ezra, the 13th chapter. Isaiah, the 13th chapter. Every man shall go to his own land and flee to their own people. All right? And that's what's going to happen here in the States. You're going to hear him say it. It's going to be more so that type of vibration here in the States because they already pushing the narrative. All right? Ain't no coincidence you got all this with Kyrie and Ye and these small hats being found out. And Jake finding out they've been lying about every goddamn thing. The Most High is the master chess player. He's moving the pieces on the board. All right?
To divide Japan. Well, in Germany too, for example, in Berlin, you would expect things to be rather orderly, and the same is true a lot of Nordic countries. But in America, it's a different story because the media has been pumping up race wars and narratives of hatred and violence for quite some time. And we also have a rather undisciplined youth because, well, nobody has held any boundaries, not even in college or universities. America's youth have been able to get away with anything just by claiming to be victims or by threatening to kill you or threatening to censor you or whatever. So when the situation goes bad in American cities, it's going to be instant anarchy with mass chaos, mass violence, mass murder. And that's going to characterize the American experience of living through this collapse, which is quite unique and distinct from the experience in other countries. Hence,
this is Babylon the Great, so it's going to be the worst. The Most High rose this place up to punish us, and it's been a golden cup in the Lord's hand to make the whole earth drunken. Now it's time for it to be destroyed. All right? This is where we at. And it's going to, like in Revelation, the 18th chapter, let's get that real quick. It's going to go out violently. Okay? And like you just heard him say, the violence is going to be instantaneous. It's going to be almost, instant once society in this collapse takes place. They already smashing and grabbing in the major cities. How much more when the police ain't getting paid to do their jobs? Because it ain't no money circulating. The money that is circulating, it ain't worth even the burn. All right? Because it's not backed by anything. It's a debt note. So let me get that real quick. Revelation, the 18th chapter. 20th verse real quick. It says Revelation chapter 18, verse 21. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. All right? And the end of the violence is going to be the nuclear destruction. All right? The end of the violence is going to be when these nuclear missiles touch down over here. But when the collapse hits, it's going to be violence up until that point. Until the Lord brings the end of all the violence by destroying all this land. All right? So let's go back, listen to a little more.
Hence the need to live away from these high-density population areas so that you might not be caught in the middle of all of this chaos and violence. But understand that this chaos is coming. Just imagine Los Angeles 72 hours after the food stamps stop working, for example, or Chicago, which is a war zone on any given day. Or Philadelphia, for that matter, right?
And he's speaking nothing but facts. 3 days and that food stamp card ain't working. People are gonna lose their shit. Don't you know Esau's giving out for every child you have, and you're on, if your child is in public school, they all get every child that you have in public school and grade school, I believe junior high too, if I'm not mistaken. Here in California, I know for sure here in California. I don't know why it wouldn't be all over, all right? Because what they're doing, they're trying to liquidate this place. Every child gets their own EBT food stamp card with like $180 to 200 some odd bucks on that card. All right, and it re-ups every month. So victuals shall be so good cheap. All right, to where Jake that's getting them stamps right now, they eating good. You know, they eating good, man. Jake refrigerator full with all bullshit right now because they getting spoiled on them stamps. But one day that card ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna be able to go swipe that card because of the collapse. All right, you was buying all bullshit, Hot Pockets and frozen corn dogs and Tampico. You know, because it's mainly the Israelite woman that's on them stamps, that's getting them stamps, man. I'm talking about the black woman as well as the Hispanic and Latino woman. Okay, here in Babylon the Great. So let's read this, going back to 2nd Ezra, and we'll close it out. I'll place the link in the description if you want to finish listening to it. It was probably about 4 or 5 minutes left, at the most. All right, so we back in 2nd Ezra 15, verse 12. It says, Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. All right? So the foundation of this place is going to be smitten by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai with the plague. The plague of these different plagues the Lord getting ready to bring. All right? The famine, the sword, all right? Because that's the sword is going to come out in the chaos. You know? And death and destruction. These are all plagues that the Lord is getting ready to bring. Did we not just read it earlier when you go up? The plagues, all right? The Lord said he was going to send them things. Okay? Behold, verse 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. So going back down to the 13th verse, all right? It says, they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seeds shall fail through the blasting and hail, and with fearful consolation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And when the society collapses, this is what it's going to go to. All right? It's going to be invading one another. Because of the what? Let's read. It says, and a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. No, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun. I jumped the gun. Okay, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right? So the politicians and the governors that's going to be here still, that people know where they live, all right? They tried to say Pelosi's husband was attacked. All right? People know where these governors and these people live. So when they collapse this money, they're going to go after them. All right? Because they're going to be snug in their mansions trying to tell the people to calm down and try to bring some type of order. And people ain't going to be having that shit because they got mouths to feed. Stomach is touching the back. They ain't trying to hear that. All right? It says, Verse 16 again, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. The brother that had the dream maybe a month, 2 months ago, all right, to where he said he didn't even want to leave 3 blocks away from his neighborhood because it was that on. He didn't want to leave his family, all right? And then you got to factor in the military, okay? That's going to be, blocking off these cities to where you can't leave the city. They may say you can't leave the city because of an outbreak. And they just got it blocked off on all major exits. And they sending in kill teams to go in and put down the sick and so-called help the survivors. But we know what that's all about. This is the type of shit that's gonna be going on. It ain't just gonna be a collapse in the people on the people. Esau is gonna capitalize on this. This is what they showed you in the movie The Purge. All right? The first Purge. They got Project Cypher. This is when they gonna start putting in those type of guys into the bringing out all their toys, and that's when the Lord is gonna start lifting up standards for His elect. All right. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Okay? It's going to be that bad out here to where men are going to be afraid. Not the men of the Lord, though, because we're going to be moving in the Spirit. As it is written in Isaiah 33:6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times. All right? That's what's going to keep us stable. And this is what we're waiting for, because the sooner this happens, the sooner we going to get out of here, man. The sooner Yahweh Shai is going to return and lay waste to this Esau, this Edomite, this demon, this devil, and his whole system. And that will be the rise of Yahweh Shai's kingdom, which he is going to share with us. We're going to be joint heirs, the kingdom of heaven. All right? I love hearing when these people that are in the know and that's into the stock market and finance and, checking things out. I love hearing them say that it's inevitable. All right? Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for the great tribulation. All right? No food and great tribulation out here. That's going to consist of a whole lot of things, not just, everything your worst nightmare. You just put it like that. That's going to be the great tribulation. Okay? The way the Lord plagued ancient Egypt ain't going to be nothing compared to what He going to do to this place. All right? So, yeah, I'm going to end it there. That was the last verse I wanted to read. So, hey, like you can see, like you heard, and this man, Mike Adams, he stay on it. All right? And he's connected with a lot of people that's in the know. So this thing is close, even closer than when we believe, But as long as we remain faithful and stay prayed up, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to guide us through it. All right? So I'm going to leave it there. Lord will, this was edifying and exhorting to the hopeful elect. Giving all praise to our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And it's on to the next video. Shalom.